I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. Now, I'm sorry about this coming on so late in the week. This was finals week in school, and I had a bunch of other work I had to make up because of my back not being able to work earlier in the month, and I was a tad bit busy. But we are getting into Werewolf Santa tonight. Now, this movie has an intro by Joe Bob. For those who don't know Joe Bob is a horror host. His name is Joe Bob Briggs. For those who do know Joe Bob, you know how exciting a moment this is. It is a British movie, and I really couldn't find anything else about it to talk to you about it from. It is shot on a shaky cam, single camera type style, because it's supposedly shot for a YouTube show in the movie called Monster Hunters that the characters are stars of. The main character, Lucy, is a star of, that she has had no luck up to this point getting monsters on. And on this night in particular, she is in way over her head. So let's jump into Werewolf Santa. It starts out showing Lucy having no luck getting monsters on her show, Monster Hunters, where she tries to find Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. And then she's heading home to Hastings. No, and then we get the intro from Joe Bob Briggs reading The Night Before Christmas and telling us, before it told us that werewolves were in Hastings, and Joe Bob tells us that the shit's about to hit the fan, where Lucy is heading home to Hastings for Christmas and also to try to hunt werewolves. Now, after some argument between Lucy and her divorced parents, and Lucy and her casual romance / fuck buddy Dustin, they go out to hunt werewolves, where they find Santa relieving himself in the woods. Now, I've never thought about where Santa relieves himself. I just figured he did it in people's houses and left in their toilets, and that's why guys always got yelled at the next day. But it would make sense for him to relieve himself in the woods because, if he flushed the toilet, people would hear it, and then they know Santa was in the house. And then Santa gets attacked by a werewolf. Lucy tries to help him. Santa looks up at the full moon and transforms into a werewolf, at which point Lucy and her cameraman Dustin take off running. Werewolf Santa takes off running, and Lucy and Dustin decide they have to save Christmas. They go back to Lucy's mother, who has now done her hair up because she's going to be on camera, and demand to be driven around, but first stop at Lucy's best friend from school's house, Rupert, who for some reason wears suit and ties all the time, to pick him up, who is also a conspiracy theorist, so that they can go hunt Santa Werewolf, or Werewolf Santa. They get some people out of their house before Werewolf Santa invade and capture Werewolf Santa coming down the chimney, but cannot stop him, because mainly all they have is an ice skate, and Lucy is too afraid. They then find Lucy's dad, who Lucy is trying to call, who is the town chief of police, or the chief constable as they call him, who has them get out on foot and go hunting for Werewolf Santa, who they run into on multiple occasions, including out in the woods where a bunch of people are having sex doggy style, and Werewolf Santa just tears them up. That is when Dustin abandons them, at which point they come across his body later on. Eventually, they find a police officer who's armed with silver bullets, and Lucy goes to take the shot, but Rupert, being Rupert and running his mouth, gets Werewolf Santa's attention, and Lucy does not fire the shot in time, but kicks Werewolf Santa in the balls. Lucy and her mom argue, and Lucy's mom wastes a shot, firing it in the air. Now, something I don't get about these movies, you fire a bullet in the air, it has to come down somewhere. The only movie it ever comes down in is Oregon Trail, and that was funny as hell. But anyways, Werewolf Santa gets away, and they go to look for him in town, and he eats the homeless guy Lucy gave money to buy meth to earlier on top of Lucy's mother's car. There are not a lot of deaths in this movie, but there are quite a few. At which point, Lucy and Rupert go into this like haunted attraction style thing to hunt him down, and Lucy gets bit. But once again, Lucy cannot shoot him because the gun is, you have to do something with the gun. I can't remember what. But Lucy cannot shoot him. So Lucy has a plan, and they go to the church. And they're all packed in the church, and Lucy's about to change, and then Lucy's dad reveals what he did. He took out all the werewolves in Hastings, including the alpha leader. Now that makes him, according to the comic books Lucy read to learn about monsters, the new werewolf alpha who can change on his own whenever the moon's full, and change back on his own. So Lucy has to shoot him, which she doesn't do until he threatens her mother. With the last silver bullet, she shoots him, and Santa and Lucy are safe. Santa then asks about the reindeer, to which Werewolf Santa ate. And we assume everything is fine, cuts to 1 year later, at which point Lucy is showing she got a card from Santa. She got a letter from Santa in the mail thanking her for turning him back from a werewolf. But they look out the window, and Santa has now been abducted by aliens, leaving a sequel in mind, UFO Santa, which just came out in 2023. Maybe next year we'll get UFO Santa. Maybe the year after. I don't know. I'd really like to see the guy from Ancient Aliens do the introduction to UFO Santa. This is a fun movie, and it's pretty entertaining. Though it's not the best movie because of the shaky cam. But it has an excuse for the shaky cam. It's not just shaky cam. I recommend Werewolf Santa, if not just for the intro by Joe Bob Briggs. Join me next week. We're going to take a look at another Christmas movie. This time, it's not a horror movie. It's Christmas Karen. And next week's going to be regular videos on the regular days. Monday's going to be a look at the history of women's pro wrestling. And then Wednesday is going to be a Christmas Karen. I don't know if there'll be songs. It's going to depend entirely on how my back's feeling. So see you then.